Gemini, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for mid-February 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Gemini collective. I hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for these beautiful Geminis in mid-February? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Gemini in mid-February. What's the vibe? What's the energy here? Let's get this card out. And I hope you all had a very happy Valentine's Day. And yeah, I'm in the season spirit. You know, I like to switch up the backgrounds from time to time. And speaking of time, we have a card that represents the construct of time. And this card, although it seems simple and neutral with the coloring, there are a lot of layers to the onion here. Before we fully dive into it, though, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the February subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk about this card. So as you can see, we have this lovely lady wearing her little shawl or her hood with an hourglass. The sand is slipping through the hourglass and slipping through her fingers. So I think of how time affects us and how time affects the situations we might be dealing with. Now, first and foremost, if we want to take the easy road, this could be a waiting pattern. So for some Geminis, maybe you're waiting on something, waiting on someone, waiting to see how something goes and how something happens, right? This card can sometimes be a little impatient. So for some Geminis, you might feel like, I'm not going to waste my time, or I don't want to waste my time. You might be very go, go, go in the short-term future when this card shows up. But when I look at big picture, how we all experience time, it's always different from person to person, from day to day. You know how some days it feels like it's dragging and dragging and dragging, and then some days, boop, it just flies by. Same goes with months and years. So for a portion of you, time might be important for the things that you're dealing with. Now, for another portion of you, maybe time is necessary with certain things you're dealing with. Maybe it's like, hey, maybe I'll take the patient, cautious approach when this card shows up. So we're just going to put her down right there. I feel like I could keep talking about that card. I feel like there's so much to it, but we'll let her chill out. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for Gemini. What do we got? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was a bit of a doozy, my friends. The reading was titled A Serious Warning. Now, it was a carryover from a lot of the energy I was picking up from the week prior. Whether it was your energy showing through or someone else's, it felt very risky. It felt very impulsive. I was picking up a pleasure-seeking type of energy. And I always say no judgment here, but to me it was an energy that felt like it's acting before it thinks things through. So hopefully things haven't been too wild for you. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards for Gemini. Maybe we'll have a nice turnaround in the energy this week. Let's get it going. 3 cards. Mid-February. What's happening? Okay. Ace of Wands. So still fiery. I mean, this is an energy you could definitely work with. That's for sure. For some other signs, yeah, Ace of Wands could be a little too wild. But we got that fire burning, my friends. We're going to have to see what's up with it. That's for sure. Let's get 2 more. We'll start piecing this together. Okay. Yeah, so 2 cards came out together, and they are in strict opposition to each other. We have the King of Wands, which there's a lot of similarity with the way these energies present themselves. And then we got the total opposite. We got our good pal here, Mr. Hanged Man, just hanging around. Now, that's not a miserable energy, but he's kind of just lingering for some reason. So let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first glance, you know, I always like to look at the elements because that informs us the area of life that could be highlighted or how the energy moves. And it's like build up, build up, build up. There's a lot of intensity here, and then boom, it just kind of stops. That could be a blockage. We're going to have to see. But there's a lot of fire. So fire predominant in this week's spread. And then this Hanged Man, that's like earthy, watery type of energy. So we're going to have to see how they all play off of each other, because when it comes to fire, that's the realm of action. So whether it's the actions you take, the actions you want to take, actions that other people take, to me, I think of it as our internal motor. So our passion, drive, desire, motivation, energy levels. So when I see a lot of fire, it's like either the energy is very intense or very low. There's like not a lot of in between when that energy starts to show up. And I mean, it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. Like to me, it's like I'm building up energy, building up, building up, building up. But the downside to fire, I'm sure some of you could already guess it, could be a little uncontrollable, right? It could be a little explosive, a little volatility. Here on the back end, it's the total mirror opposite to what's going on, because the Hanged Man with the water earth mixture, I like it. It's good, but just the opposition to how the elements play off each other. When I pick up a mainly earthy element, to me, it represents our day to day life, our routine, our schedule, our sense of stability. Could be work, money, finances. Like it's not an energy that's really moving. And that's the downside to earth energy, is that sometimes it could get a little stuck. So it's like we have this little play of energy where it's like it's coming, it's going, it's here or there, it's building up energy, but it's also restrained. Not as wild as last week, that's a good thing. But let's go through and start building it out piece by piece. Position number one, we're starting with the Ace of Wands. Now, I always say I love all aces. They represent offers and opportunities to me. And this one right here is no different. So, usually that's pretty good. Aces are strong when they come in with communication. So, if we're not talking about communication, if we're not talking uh, action in general, the Ace of Wands could represent your energy level. So, maybe you're burning a little hot. Maybe you have a lot of intensity within you in this time. I mean, it could also be the total opposite too. For some of you, you might just feel drained. There might be someone or something that's like, I'm tired of this. So we do need to look into this further. But I love it because it's new. That's the thing. The Ace of Wands, it's like I'm looking at something new. I'm seeing something new. I'm feeling rejuvenated, which can be really great. But the downside, all those things I was just speaking about, this energy can be a little uncontrollable. It could get a little wild and volatile. So we do want to look at it further, especially if it's a conversation of some sort. Ace of Wands, yeah, sometimes it's an energy that's not the most reliable, too. All aces have a lot of potential, but they're not a foregone conclusion yet. So we're going to take a look. The energy at least wants to do something, I can tell you that. Moving to the middle, I think this card can be really good for what we're seeing, especially on the front end. Got our good pal here, Mr. King of Wands. Now, for some of you, if you're connected to a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, this could be them. Remember, it's not gender specific. The thing with all kings is they represent control of their respective suits. So, all this stuff I've been saying about the fiery energy, the King of Wands is actually a card that can harness it, where it's like, I'm going to put my energy here, I'm not going to waste my energy there. So that could be very important in this time, that Spirit wants you to not waste energy on certain things, or maybe Spirit wants you to put more energy into other things. So, like, the King kind of keeps a lid on all this fire energy in its best form. It could also be outgoing, it could also be social, very lively and energetic. I do like the King of Wands for that. But the downside to the King of Wands, can you guess it? Especially next to the Ace of Wands, it's an energy that can just say, screw it, whatever happens, happens. It's an energy that either can lose control or just say, you know what, whatever. Like it can be that. So we'll see what's up. Now, as I'm sure you can tell, there's a lot of pressure building in the energy here on the front end with the Ace of Wands and the King of Wands. This could be restraint or refraining or trying to hold back when I see this. So again, it doesn't necessarily have to be you, but the energy is just super, super intense. And there's nothing wrong with intensity. But when we get to the back end, we have the Hanged Man. Now, this card is totally different. So we see this person, they're hung upside down. They don't look miserable, they look pretty neutral. And I always say it's very similar to the Hermit to me. So this card, it could be a Virgo, could be a Scorpio. Some people also give it to Pisces. But I see the Hanged Man, I think, retracted, pulled back, not making any moves. This is a big energy of observation and planning. So when I see the Hanged Man, it's like, I'm watching, nothing's getting past me. So there is this observational type of energy, and there's also this strategic energy with this Hanged Man, where it's like I'm taking in information, and I'm planning before I act, which is, I mean, could be good. The downside to the Hanged Man, it could be an energy that obviously feels stuck. It could be an energy that feels like it's not making progress. It could feel like very frustrated. So, like the combination, I feel for some of you, this could be great. For some of you, this could be very frustrating. So I want to dive deeper on all of it. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. Let's see what's happening for Gemini. And yeah, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Ace of Wands. Yeah, and if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Gemini, you can drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is this Ace of Wands here? Thank you. King of Pentacles. It's an energy that feels like it's holding back. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands with the King of Pentacles. This is an energy, and if you see how I'm looking at it, I'm not just looking at the cards and their meanings. I'm looking at how the energy plays overall. And I have like this burning hot intensity right here on the front with these earthy energies that are trying to like keep it together. I'm trying to keep it together. Now, the King of Pentacles with the Ace of Wands, if we're just talking in general, this could be good. I mean, for some of you, it could be a talk of some kind or a message of importance that we want to look at further. Usually, the King of Pentacles, if that isn't a Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus that you're connected to, solid, stable, blessings, abundance. So for some of you, this could be a really great energy coming in. But when I feel it intuitively, to me, it feels like I'm feeling trapped or I'm trying to keep something under control, which makes sense with what I've been seeing the past few weeks, where it's like I felt impulse control things and this riskiness. This energy at least seems to be trying to keep a handle on it or keep a lid on it, which I do think is cool. So those are the main things I'm initially feeling here. For some of you, again, this could be a talk, conversation, message of importance with the King of Pentacles coming up, and it does feel like it could go well if contained, because there is this energy that might want to like go off the cliff, so to speak. But I get this pressure building, pressure building, pressure building. So just keep that in mind as we move further. We're going to put him down there. Hopefully, it's a good thing. Let's go in on the King of Wands. And that's another thing I'll mention. Kings represent control, just like I said. So notice we have the Kings, Hanged Man. It's like this energy is trying to keep things locked in. So let's go in on the King of Wands and see what he has. So why is the King of Wands here, please? Oh, okay. This energy is different. All right. So we have the Five of Wands in reverse, which is good and bad depending on your situation. Because the Five of Wands in reverse could be good if we're talking about problem resolution. If you've been having issues or tension or problems with a person, all this energy could actually be really good for problem resolution. So that's the one thing I really do like. But when I see the King of Wands with the Five of Wands in reverse, it's like I'm not going to fight it anymore. I'm not going to fight for it anymore. I'm just going to let it rip. So there is this energy where there's an intensity around communication. This could be an explosive talk or message where it's like the one side is trying to keep things on track, guidelines, boundaries. We're doing it this way. There's a structure to it. This one in the center is like, screw the structure. I'm going to put that out the window. I'm just going to roll with it. Now, for some of you, if you are in the flow state, so to speak, if you're approaching life right now in a way where it's like, whatever happens, happens, whatever comes, comes, I'll cross that bridge when I get there, that's not a bad thing. I think that could actually be good for some of you to try to be in a flow state where it's like you don't have to control every little thing or you don't have to worry about every little detail. Just cross the bridge as you get to it. But I still do have this energy around a talk or a message where it could get a little wild, where it's like this energy is trying to keep it structured. This energy is like, screw structure. I'm going to say what I'm going to say, or I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So either it's something that intensifies really quickly. Let's keep going. There's an explosiveness to it, which is okay. Or either that or it comes out of the blue. It's like I have this plan. This is how I'm going to do it. When this happens, this is how it'll go. And this one kind of throws the plan out the window. So let's go in on the Hanged Man. We'll see what's up with that. Maybe the energy will think twice before doing all that. And we'll do a quick little recap before we get into the shadow. So why is the Hanged Man here for Gemini, please? Thank you. Yeah, this is an energy that kind of like tests something. That's how it feels. So we have the Death card in reverse. Don't get nervous about the Death card. I know there's a lot of feelings around this card, and I always say, like, I actually think it's good because it's a card of change, and it's a card of like a phoenix rising from the ashes. But when I see the Hanged Man with the Death card in reverse, it's like I'm going to do something or say something and watch what happens. There is this watching, there is this analysis, and it kind of feels scorpionic. And I'm not talking bad about Scorpios, I'm a Scorpio moon, but sometimes Scorpios will do something or say something to like test the waters or test the boundaries. And that's what this feels like to me, where it's like I'm going to say this or I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to watch, I'm going to wait for a second. Now, there is this observational type of energy, and there is also this waiting energy. When I see the Death in reverse underneath the Hanged Man, it's like I'm leaving the door open for something, or I'm waiting to see if something comes back around. So it's like we have a lot of things here. We have like this testing, we have this watching, then we also have this energy that's wanting something to pop back up, where it's like, all right, only a matter of time. You know, when you go fishing and you throw it out and you're watching, where you're like feeling for a hit, that's how this feels to me. It's like, all right, I'm going to throw my line out and I'm just going to wait till the fish bites it. I don't know how this applies to what you're going through, but there is like this little fishing aspect. That's so odd. All right, let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow card. So a lot of specifics, again, only take what hits for you. There's some good stuff here, but then there's also this odd little undertone. But if you kindly look in the box position, number one, we got the Ace of Wands, King of Pentacles. I did say this could be somebody approaching something with some structure, some boundaries. We're going to do it this way, and this way. There is like a plan around it. This could be a good talk, or at least good intentions coming in. But as we move to the center, we have the King of Wands with the Five of Wands in reverse, where that energy just does not care for structure. It doesn't care for the rules. It doesn't care for the boundaries. It does feel like an explosive talk or message of some kind, potentially. So watch out for ones that pop in out of the blue or ones that intensify quickly, because these energies are playing from two different rule books. On the back end, we have the Hanged Man with Death in reverse, and this does feel like somebody testing a boundary or testing or waiting and watching, where it's like, I've done this, now let's see what happens, where they're like throwing a fishing rod out and they're just waiting for a bite. So it's like there is watching going on here, to see what the reaction is. So take that for what it's worth. Please feel free to take a screenshot of that if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for you. And yes, I always like to pull a shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge, they can be a good thing. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel. I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this going here. What do we got for Gemini? Cute. Star. Cool. That's good long-term energy. I could tell you that, especially with where we are in the zodiac season. We're in Aquarius season. This is the Aquarius card. And I know we had a ton of different zodiac signs show up this week, so we don't need to hyper-focus on Aquarius. Now, the good thing about this card is it's a wish fulfillment card. It's a card of hope, a silver lining. One thing to keep in mind with the star, it looks at the big picture, not just what's happening now, not what has already happened, but we're thinking big picture down the line. So again, if you're in a waiting pattern, like when I see the star, it could be spirit saying, all right, there might be something that needs time, just like we saw with that very first card in the reading. But the downside to the star and the shadow side of the star is that sometimes it could lose hope. Sometimes this energy could get a little pessimistic, or it could just feel very down. So when I see this in the shadows, sometimes it's a little hint of depression. So watch out for that in this time. Handle that however you do when we have the star card. But the good thing about it, it tells me that there is a light at the end of the tunnel and there is a silver lining. So we're going to take that silver lining. And yeah, we're going to leave it at that, Gemini. That's what I have for you this week, my friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details. The February subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation, you could book a personal reading with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com, so we could have a little chat. My February calendar is up, so go check that out. They usually go pretty quick. But for the February subscriber surprise, we're doing a nice different style this month. We're doing a winner's choice. So the winners, which will be 3, will have their choice of the Tarot of the Owls, the Gilded Tarot Royale, or a handmade crystal pendant from my shop, mastermetaphysics.com, once again. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the cards we saw in this week's reading, which one caught your attention the most, whether it really inspired you or hit you right in your feelings. anyone that stood out to you, and you'll be entered to win. And at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.